Greetings and salutations. Welcome to another episode of Not a Linux Guru Guy. This is Rick Koppel talking at you from Denver, Colorado. And I wanted to, my son's here from Colorado. He is the person that's most famous for being on Twitch and also for being doing this.
Do some beatboxing, boy. Yeah.
So, but today but that's for later on, tomorrow's video we'll do that. So today though we're going to have a demonstration of how to make a USB port easier in Linux, and it's without installing any extra programs or doing anything extra, and other than downloading a little script I have would make it simple. So we'll look at that on the other side of the intro. Howdy, and yeah, I got a couple of things to clear up for you in today's video about how to make USB stick, bootable USB stick for ISOs and stuff that you download. But yeah, the one, I made friends with Dolphin. Last video I mentioned that I didn't like Dolphin very much because I had problems with it. Well, I worked those problems out. I found out there are settings, and I'm going to tell you about them real quick. One of the settings was actually in systems settings, and that's the double click issue, where I was trying to double click on things and it wouldn't. And it's not a setting actually in Dolphin itself. You have to go to your system settings. In KDE Plasma, it's on workspace behaviors, I believe. And let's just look at that real quick. And go up here to workspace behavior, I think is where it's at. Yeah, and general behavior. Right over here is a click behavior. Single click to open files and folders, double click to open files. So you have to set that to double click if you want to double click, single click. Obvious. I didn't know to look there for it, so that's where that's at. And then also in Dolphin, I had the problem with the things popping up. I'll show you there real quick. Yeah, so you see now I got it all set up pretty nice, and so it's not all convoluted. I mean, the problem with the list was that I had was the icons were so big that it made them real big, and you had all these lines, ugly lines going across and stuff like that. Yeah, you go down here to there, go to Just View Display Style, and there to show previews. See, I'll show you what I mean. This is default setting, and it was just too big and bulky for me to look at my list view like I like. I like more compact view, and I like all these details, so I found where to apply that. But yeah, so I take that off, apply, and then I get what I like. Ta-da! So that's how I found out there. I made friends with Dolphin finally. Figured out settings to make it look like I wanted to look and how I like to use it. So there's where I am. Some people like the big icons with the icon view. Other people like a list view like this. I like the details to be able to see all the stuff in one thing. Permissions, who owns it, the user group, all that information. So I can see it all in one shot that way. Yeah, so anyway, made friends with Dolphin, that's one thing I wanted to clear up from last time. Okay, let's get back on what we were continuing to do in this video. Just look at the ISO to USB script I created, how it works. We're going to go into Windows, into the terminal application here. And we're going to go to CD bin, my bin directory or my home directory. This out. Right down there you'll see ISO to USB. That's probably what we're looking at right there. So we're going to nano ISO USB. And this file simplifies making bootable USB drives from ISOs using DD. And the full syntax is you have the full path name of the ISO there. So if you wanted to install an ISO drive, I'll show you that in a minute. But anyway, yeah, this comes down to it gets file extension from the base name, full path name of ISO, pulls it out, it gets a base file name from it, and then it gets extension name. And it's going to check the extension to see if you have an ISO or IMG file right there. And based on that, it's going to process a file if you have one of those two file types. And what it does is it then will do an LSB LK command, which basically lists all your drives out for you. And you enter the last letter of the drive, A through E. Like if you have a SDB or SDC or SDF or whatever, then you put that in there. And then it'll say installing the ISO drive onto SD, whatever letter you put in there, yes or no. You say no, that's not what I intended to do, then you say no. If you say yes, then it goes on and it processes this script stuff here, right there. Basically, creates the drive letter with the information that you're given. It's going to put it to and make sure the drive's unmounted. And then it does a sudo ddd. And it plugs in the information it needs there based on what you entered. And it'll create the bootable GD. When it's done, it'll send this message here that says, "You're done. We're done." Now, if you don't enter a valid extension, any other case marks, any other type of enter, it gives this help menu thing here, which if you leave it empty, you just put ISO to USB. This is what you get. It'll list out the extension that it read out, and not a valid choice must be an image or ISO file extension. It also uses the following format, blah, blah, blah. It tells you what the format is. And it says here, an easy way to get the full path name is use your file manager to copy the target file. The terminal you paste it in using Control-Shift-V after you type in ISO to USB. So I'll demonstrate that and you can see it in action. Right. So you go to Dolphin or whatever file manager you have on your system, and you go to your ISOs. Mine are right here in my Linux. So say you wanted to install Linux Cinnamon onto something. Then you would take that, you'd right click it, copy, or no. If you have a copy location button, that's probably more accurate, I hope. And but otherwise you copy, you may have to delete out some certain prefixes and like file, colon, slash, you'd have to leave that out. Anyway, yeah, you should be able to pick copy location. Yeah, that otherwise just click copy and you can edit it out later. Close that out. Then you type ISO to USB. Control V, paste, and boom, there it is. Now one thing you have to be careful of is this needs to be all continuous name on here. No spaces or anything weird like that. Most of the of them are pretty good about that, but if you have any directories like down, load, you got a space there between those two things, you'd have to make sure you close this whole section in a quotes so that it reads it correctly. Otherwise, it'll break it up into two things and it won't find it. So then when you enter this in, you get this. It says enter the last level of the drive to install the ISO on. Now, see this SDA drive here. That's my main drive. It's got 953.9 gigahertz. That's how you know that's not the drive to install this to. If you're talking to USB, you're not going to have a 9,953.9 gigahertz USB drive, I don't think, most cases. So then the next drive you guys use is SDB. That's 119 gigabytes. SC, you have just over a meg, 0.6. Seem right either, but yeah. Oh, I have that. Yeah, it's an old USB stick. Yeah, we wouldn't be able to install that to that, but if you wanted to, say C, you enter C there, and then it goes solid that's on a drive C. Remember that? Say yes or no. In this case, we're going to say no because one, I don't think that's big enough drive to install the whole thing to, and two, we don't want to wait, watch it go for however long it takes, because it takes a while to process those. So no. It's going to do password. I'll force you out of that. We're done. Yeah. I need to check that, make sure that no actually goes where I think it's going. Anyway, that's how you create it. But anyway, yeah, create the bootable USB drive when you install the right letter, and works pretty good. I've used it to create my USBs. Pretty easy, and it's simple to use. You don't have to worry about all the other factors, things that people download this program, have that program there, this program, this program, this program. I end up with several of those programs, Esther and Rufus and stuff like that I used once or twice, and then we come back and I try to use it again, it didn't work, and I had this issue, that problem. This works every time, and yeah. Now, if you're on Linux Mint, Cinnamon, there's something there called Minty, I believe, if I remember correctly, that uses DD, and you just right click in your Nemo file manager on the ISO file and make a bootable USB like that, and it pops right up. So everything installed in there. Select what USB drive you want, and then you click create, and it creates it. Gives you progress meter as well. That's convenient, but you can also use in like Debian. You can create a bootable drive through using the disk creator. There's other options that you can use that way. You right click on the ISO file and see if it has anything listed for your particular distro and things like that. And usually I just put sudo on there. Sudo dd, and then you have the IF, stands for input file, and that's where your ISO would go. Then you have OF, which is your output file. That's your device, STB, STC, or whatever drive you're going to put it to. And then the only thing you have to do on there is put BS1, no, equals 1M the progress meter report. Type stats equals progress on there. That's about the extent of it. When you hit enter, if I had an actual file in there, of course this will give an error if I do it now, but if I hit enter and I had an actual file in there, ISO file, it would do the same thing as what that does there. I like that because it gives you a list of all your drives right off the bat so you can see what you got, select the correct one, and go from there because you got to do that anyway. So yeah, that's how you do the ISO to USB, and I'm hoping you will enjoy that. And I have a link down in the description where you can download that file as soon as I figure out the one little bug I had in there apparently. So yeah, you can click down there, you can download that file, you can install an ISO on a USB on any Linux distro out there. They all have DD. I haven't met one yet that doesn't. So there you go. Till next time, may the Linux force be with you. Bye.